Hey, everyone. Welcome to the ladies' room. Oh my God, we are back.
Yay!
What's up, ladies?
Hey. We back. Back.
They
I
thought
missed y'all.
I miss y'all too. For everybody who's new to watching us, welcome to the ladies' room. We went on a hiatus, but we are back and we're trying to come strong. So I hope you guys tune in. We're going to be talking about some of everything like relationships, love, marriage, popular culture, racism, and other, social issues, all types of things here. It's funny. We got the heels on your right. Say hey, y'all.
Hey.
That's Cannon and Darwin Hill. And we have Mrs. Jovo down below.
Hey y'all, what's going on?
The Hills are gonna keep y'all laughing. Mrs. Jovo is gonna keep you healed because she's she's a therapist on the panel. And our other host, Raven, is not here right now. She'll be joining us a little later. Okay. So thank everybody for joining. We have a really hot show today. All right.
Yes, we do. Let's get into it.
First, I want to ask you, ladies, what was y'all New Year's resolution? We ain't done this all year. Y'all got a New Year's resolution this year? What it is?
I don't have any this year.
Not this year.
No resolutions this year. Just live in the moment. Just live in the moment. That's it.
Yeah. I typically don't make resolutions. I have like short-term and long-term goals. And
okay.
One of my, let me see, which one do I want to share? Well, one of my long-term goals has to do with building my real estate portfolio, and I'm well on the way. So that's one of my long-term goals. And then a short-term goal would be to just like be more diligent with some of my efforts and my time.
Okay.
You got to get you some real estate in Atlanta. I'll hook you up with that.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, Cannon.
That's right.
What about you, Darren?
I'm just going to get this action figure body, this year before my birthday. I turned 40 last year. I'm about to be 41, so I just want to get that action figure body how I used to be. You know what I'm saying? I started off a little bit bad. I've been eating pork chop sandwiches and bologna sandwiches and stuff like that, but I'm going to get it together. So,
okay.
Okay, I feel you. You got this.
Yeah, I didn't make any New Year's resolutions. Like you say, Ashley, it's just, long-term, short-term, going from there. So, yeah, the year don't really matter,
We miss you too, whoever that is, Facebook user. We see y'all in the chats.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Why don't you all go ahead and hit the like button for those of you who are tuned in. Hit the like button and share, okay? And also share your New Year's resolution or any goals you all have for the year.
Yes, we love to hear that.
Yes.
No goal is too outlandish. No goal. Whether it's to become the action figure man or to find you a man, find you a lady. Okay.
Find you a lady.
No goal is outlandish.
No goal is outlandish. All right. So yeah, we definitely want to hear from you all. All right. We're about to go ahead and get started. Our first topic of the night is what everybody's been talking about. And we're going to talk about it again tonight. We are going to be talking about Katt Williams. All right. So there's so many things we could say, right? But I'm just going to ask you all. I'm going to just ask you all one by one. What were your what was something that stuck out the most to you? Who would like to start?
Okay, all right.
I think Darwin had a lot to say about this. So you want to start?
I'm ready for this. Oh, I missed y'all so much. Oh my God. I love it.
Y'all know I'm going to, but before I say anything, I'm going to tell y'all, I'm going to say this first. I think Katt Williams is a top 10, top 5. I put in my top 5 stand-up comedians of all time,
Mm-hmm.
So it's this, what I'm going to say is not coming from a place of I don't like him. I don't think he's funny or anything like that. It's just me giving my perspective on how I see how he's acting and stuff like that, right? But he did encourage me to read 3,000 books. So I'm gonna start with this right here, right? Because I feel like that's the only way you're gonna get to 3,000 books in a year if you're reading books like this. That's all I'm gonna say about that, right?
Okay.
This is Fox and Socks. So this is my journey to 3,000 books. We're gonna start with that. But on another note, I believe he told a lot of truth in that, he said a lot of stuff what people was thinking about that goes on in the industry, people stealing people's jokes, the Illuminati and all of this stuff about all these secret society things that they make you do, or how you have to achieve this fame by getting these light-skinned women and all that other stuff. I believe it to a certain extent, but I don't believe nothing is forced upon anybody that's in Hollywood. As far as you got to wear dresses and stuff like that, that's just totally insane, because that's just taken away from everybody's hard work and effort. And if you say that you have to sell yourself to do XYZ, then who is really putting in the hard work? You know what I'm saying? How can you tell who's putting in hard work if every time someone gets to this fame, you got someone coming around saying, oh, he had to do XYZ just to get there. So in everybody's mind, like he had all this fame at one point too. Did he have to do something to get to that fame? Should we just think like that all the time? Every time someone gets all this money and this celebrityism or whatever the case may be? No, I think he's just a little bitter right now, because he's not one of the top comedians that's been talked about, or some comedians is passing him up in certain areas. You know what I'm saying? Like Tiffany Haddish, everybody is just their career is going up, and he has somewhere hit a wall. And I think he's trying to reinvent himself, which is okay. Everybody get a chance to reinvent themselves when they take a look in the mirror and they say, oh, this ain't how I want to be. I'm not at where I want to be at in my career. I see these people I think is funnier, that I think I'm funnier than, and they're doing these shows, or they're in these spaces that I think I should be in. So he's trying to reinvent himself, and that's cool. But he's trying to tear down other artists to do it, and that's the thing I don't like. If you feel that way, some things you don't have to say, because even if you're not bitter, you're gonna look bitter. Like, you shouldn't have to talk about anybody's wife, how they look, anybody's money, or their preference on what roles they take, or what they do in the roles, and that's what I don't like about it, so that's my take on it.
So what do you think about him calling out other comedians who stole his content? I saw several videos that served as like proof that his content was stolen, because you'll see him performing it on a stage years before a different comedian performed it, and it's very, very similar. So what do you think about that?
Those are one of the things that was true, and he got a point. He's supposed to have a look, have some type of ill will towards that. Someone stole anybody's content, they gonna be a little mad about it. But that happens in Hollywood. That happens. I feel like if he's such a big time comedian, he shouldn't even worry about none of that, because a lot of comedian stuff gets stolen, right? But it's not until they hit a wall till they start coming out complaining about stuff. And that's all I'm saying. Like when he was big time, and when it was Katt Williams on this, Katt Williams on that, he wasn't doing all of this complaining and all this bickering. But now I guess he's trying to get back to the top. He got something coming out, and this is the way he's trying to boost that. You know what I'm saying? And that's cool. That's his way of getting his name back into the spotlight. That's cool. I ain't knocking him for it. Hey, get your money by any means. It was smart. He got over 70 million views on a show. Hey, genius. I have nothing against that. But you tearing down other artists to do so, other artists that worked hard. When you're telling the world that the only reason some of these artists got their roles is because you turned down these roles, like, come on, that even if that's true, that's still unnecessary, because I'm pretty sure people have turned down roles that you've got. In Hollywood, they send out roles to a lot of people, and then they pick the ones that they want. I'm pretty sure you didn't get picked for every role that was sent to you, or every role your agent put in front of your face. So when you come out and act like the only reason people are famous is because of you, and you just toss their role down, and that's how they picked it up, and now they shot to the top because they had to do some funny stuff to get the role, and you didn't, it's like you tearing down another artist. And in that game, you know, I don't think that's cool.
Okay, I got you. All right. So for those of you who just joined, we are talking about Katt Williams, the Katt Williams interview with Shannon Sharpe, and I'm just getting everybody's viewpoints. Thank you, Darwin. And I want everybody to go ahead and put in the comments, like, what do you think? What are you all thinking about this interview? Do you believe him? Do you not? Do you think he's kind of like, you know, up against the wall, like Darren said, and is trying to, you know, gain some more popularity? What do you think? All right. So what about you? What about you, Jovo? And before Jovo comes on, we got Raven, formerly known as the Super Saiyan Supreme Wife. I can't even say it right. But now she's going by the coldest, okay? Y'all, she's our baby in the group, all right? Hey, Raven. How are you?
Hi, I'm good.
I love
I'm
it.
joining from the parking lot. Sorry, guys.
Parking
But
lot.
thank
Ain't
you.
nothing-
Yeah, I know.
You look so
I
cute.
missed your
Thank
face.
you. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, I miss you guys too.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, Mr. Katt Williams.
What do you think, Jovo?
I agree with a lot what Darwin said, but I really want to, you know, put this out here to people. It was a very entertaining interview. We got to remember that these comedians, that some of them don't know how to come out of character, and how he presented himself in this interview, it really just shows that he was in character mode. Like, this is something really, honestly, if you look back at some of the past interviews he's done, like I saw this one with Shannon Sharpe, he did one with Larry King that was a little bit more personalized, and he talked about himself. Completely two completely different interviews. He was so nervous going into personal details about himself with Larry King. He was confident somewhat, but you can tell there was a difference then between when he was talking to Shannon Sharpe. So I think that he really won, because someone in the comments just said absolutely a marketing move. Absolutely. Like, I think he got a Netflix special coming. I'm not sure. Absolutely. It definitely was. It was made for TV entertainment. Absolutely. He definitely entertained us, especially the comment about reading all the books in 1 year, meaning that he had to read 3 or 4 books a day. And unless you're reading Cat in the Hat and some books from Chick-fil-A, I mean, I'm just, from the Chick-fil-A kids meal, I'm just saying, Cat, for real. But on the flip side of that, let's go back to this whole people stealing jokes. The last time I checked, there were no copyright infringement laws on jokes. Like, really, it's like he took it really, really far. And like Darwin said, he really the only comedian out there, like, creating all this beef. Like, it's a lot of beef. Like, just people, oh, he said this back in 94, and then he came back and said this in 01. And really, throughout the interview, I found myself saying, so what? These specials have been recorded. These shows have happened. What you got for us today, Kat? Like, give us a new joke. Like, copyright your own stuff, you know? Like, tell us about what you got going on. Because that's what I thought he was going to do during the interview. It reminded me of the lady, Corinne Steffens, in the Superhead book. That's what it reminded me of. It was a male version of that book. And it's like, but what you got going on? Since you telling on everybody. So it's just a lot. Like, for real.
I did notice that every time Shannon Sharpe asked him something about himself, he would say on himself maybe like 30 seconds and go right back to other people. To me, it felt like an old man sitting on the porch gossiping. That's what it felt to me. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it was entertaining. But let me ask you this, Jovo. Let me ask you this. You made a comment about like there are no copyright infringement laws on jokes, right? Do you think that like as a comedian, as a professional comedian, you have more or should have more respect when you don't take other people's jokes and you're more creative? Before you answer that, I do want to play this short video, y'all. This is another comedian. You all know him as Bernie Mac, the late Bernie Mac. I want to play
my favorite.
He said he has something to say about other comedians stealing jokes.
You don't do your material around a lot of comedians. That's like stealing in front of the police. You know what I mean? They mean well, but they sit on the side. Oh, that's funny. Next thing you know, you see it on HBO or something. You be sitting at home. That shit mine, you know? But ain't nobody gonna believe first come, first serve. You know? So when you do new stuff, you never, I'm telling you, for you comics coming up, never bring your stuff out in front of a house full of comedians. You'll never work a lot. Especially established comedians like myself, you'll never work a lot. Make sure you keep that. But I want that question to be asked on the couch. They be stealing your shit for real? Yeah.
No, I mean they do. I believe they steal it. I think everybody like takes something, they hear something, they modify it, all of that good stuff. But how many minutes Katt spent on talking about who stole what? And then versus how many minutes he spent on what he actually get on stage and talk about. Like he kind of painted himself like, but it don't be me. But I'll tell you who be doing it. And it's just like, really? Really? But it would, I ain't gonna even lie. I was entertained thoroughly. Especially when he started talking about the females that keep his marijuana blunts rolled versus the male ones. Oh yeah. Katt was on one. He was on one. He was on one for real.
Okay. So it was funny, but he was a little too gossipy for y'all.
Exactly. Little chatterbox.
All right.
Tell all. Like write your tell all book, Katt.
All right. So the code is, what do you think?
I think Jovo put it perfectly. He was giving old man on the porch. He was giving, just, how old men be like, we're going to sit around and tell lies. That's what it was giving. Now, granted, he could have been telling the truth because there was footage of other people stealing his jokes. Fair point. But it was just giving, pillow talking old man, and you just got to let old people talk sometimes. So just let them talk.
All right. What do you think, Cannon?
I think that Katt Williams is a genius. He's a comedic genius, and I think he's a marketing genius because I think he definitely made the moment. Like, I think that he thoroughly understands the social media landscape, going viral, all of that. And I think that that was his goal and that was his main intention. And he accomplished it. Like, he knew going in, like he even said it. He said, watch, everybody gonna come here. This is gonna do, like, he knew what he was doing. It was like almost like he was smirking at the camera, like, I'm about to say he's an excellent storyteller. Like he already, he was basically doing a stand-up as a precursor to his actual show. It's like almost like a little snippet, like to get people to be like, oh, I remember Katt stand-up. Look at, because I mean, he did such a great job. That's basically how stand-ups go. Like the way he was having that conversation, it was a stand-up set, right? Truth in it with a whole bunch of exaggerations and things like that. The biggest thing for me is that is how people's lack of discernment or the way people just snatched it up. I was like, oh my God, like y'all just taking everything as he say as the God's Bible gospel. Like I always say, be wary of anybody who makes themselves the hero in every story that they tell. Like you always got to be trying to pick out the little snippets up in there. And it's like, oh my, like he the only one who ain't never did nothing to compromise. Listen, I'm not even rich, and I've probably done a thing or two that compromised something, right? To get something. Everybody, I don't care what nobody. Everybody, I was like, I would never do it. Yeah, okay, sure.
I can vouch.
Right?
I can vouch.
Yeah. Okay.
No, what I'm saying is everybody can look back and probably say, man, I didn't really want to do that, or I wish I hadn't had to do that, or suck this up, or not say this thing I wanted to say, or smile at this person who I don't like them. Whatever it is, we've all done things that compromise something. So for him to just pretend like he's just above, like, oh, I've never. This is like, and it's like everybody else doing it, but you the only, okay. And then to me, it was just it was just kind of the what do you call it? It was the misogyny for me, but the like the passive misogyny. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like giving women compliments shrouded in stereotypes. Like it was just like, oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay.
I thank you.
Can you tell everybody what part of the interview you're talking about with that? Like what
Just
made
in
you
general, just the way he was speaking about women, how he talked about Kim Kardashian, how he talked about Ludacris's wife. You know, like that was very disrespectful. You know what I mean? Like extremely disrespectful, unnecessarily. It's like you want to talk about being ableist, but you being misogynistic in the next sentence. So I mean, y'all all got some stuff. You know what I mean? It's like because he was talking about Ricky Smiling, he was like, oh, and he was playing this character and it's not. But then, like I say, the next frame, you calling somebody face wife an ugly face and calling them bees and all types of stuff. And it's just like, and also it was the part where he was so adamantly against portraying gay on screen because that's so far away from who he is as a person, but he had no problem playing a pimp. So what is that? But that was his reason that he gave, right? Like every actor doesn't say that, right? Every actor don't be like, I only take roles that I can relate to. Every actor don't say that. He said that. So the next thing churning in my mind is, oh, so you can relate to being a pimp, but being a gay is just so immorally, it's just so immoral.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's like a whole other topic. Like, why is it cool to be a pimp? Maybe not now. Back in the day, you know, it was cool to be a pimp. Like, I even think about the word simp. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's cool to be a pimp. You not a pimp.
And my whole thing is, I don't even have an issue that he feels that way. But people just trying to martyr him like he got all of these like values and integrity over everybody else. It's like,
okay,
he's funny. Okay. He's a funny guy.
Very funny. Like they really thought they were in philosophy 101 in college. Like, oh, this some deep stuff he dropping. And I'm just like,
that's what I was hating at.
I'm like, he's lived a life, but like what's deep? What's deep about you insulting Ludacris's wife and all these other people? Like what's deep about that? Like what does it say about somebody who has to pull people down in order to make a point? Honestly.
I like that.
I was looking at everybody that thought he was just this deep savant all of a sudden. Like, you must ain't been paying attention to life, period. Because a lot of stuff that he was saying is no secret. You know, all this secret society, Illuminati, if only people, it's gatekeepers. Like, it's gatekeepers everywhere. It's gatekeepers at your job. It's gatekeepers at the school. It's gatekeepers in your clique or in your area. Like, it's people will let you in if they like you. And if they don't like you, you might have to kiss little ass to get into that group if you want to get in that group a little bit. And depending on what their terms is, you might have to meet it. That's not no secret. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just life, and that's everywhere. So when people's like, oh, he right about Hollywood, it's not only celebrities that act that way. You know what I'm saying? You got pole motherfuckers that's trying to make people do what they want them to do all the time too. So it's just not no celebrity thing, and it's just this secret that he just found out. Because it's such a secret, then how you know about it? If you ain't in these groups that you so-called not in, you know, so.
Okay. All right. I remember y'all having this conversation on Facebook, and I was like, wow, they're going in on Katt. It seemed like everybody else was like, you know, believing him. Y'all like, nah.
But to me, like, the thing is,
and I wasn't even going in on Katt.
It's not even going in on him. It's just everybody like, oh my God, he's just sick. It's like, oh,
like people people natural followers, right? And so I was calling out all the followers that all of a sudden have a problem with men wearing dresses with this slapstick comedy. Like we all laughed at Martin. We all watched the Martin show. We love Mama Payne. We love Sinead. We love Wanda. We love Jim Carrey. We love all of this. Now all of a sudden, Katt Williams comes out and say these things about these actors, and because you like Katt Williams so much, you want to change up how your whole childhood. Now you want to act like this never happened, like it wasn't funny. And when you was sitting down and watching Martin, you was discussing, oh man, he playing wearing a dress. Well, nobody doing that. Everybody was sitting back having a good time laughing. Wasn't nobody disgusted about him wearing a dress? And now all these people like, oh yeah, they trying to emasculate us and this and that. Nah, no one is. Who is they? Who is this they that's trying to emasculate somebody?
No, but one of the people that he called out, Tyler Perry, right? Like talking about, dressing as a woman in service to, I guess you gotta wear it or whatever, or in service to white people or whatnot. You can't say that about Tyler Perry. You can't. Tyler Perry became famous, got all his money from black people, doing black plays, getting money from he was not in. And as a matter of fact, he has existed. He's built an empire existing outside of that whole Hollywood thing. He got his own studio. He can do whatever he want to do, and he's still making Madea movies. Like, ain't nobody making him do nothing, right? Like, and so like that's the bigger, like, my whole thing is there's questions to be had. It's always like, to me, people be having the right questions with the wrong conclusions. If that make any sense, you know what I mean?
It makes perfect sense.
It's like, yeah, you can have a question to say, why do certain black men or black characters that portray black women in these stereotypical ways, why do people find them so hilarious? Let's dig into that or whatever. But you can't sit up here and be like, they making you put on a dress. Like, that whole thing has been a part of theater for centuries. Men acting as women. It was a point in time when in theater, when women they wouldn't even let women be actors. So all the actors were played by men. All the parts were played by men. And so it's like, when you look at all of the white actors, Robin Williams, all these other people that wore these dresses, Arnold Schwarzenegger, all these people that thought it was funny and put this on, but for some reason it's only gonna emasculate the black man. And it just didn't stand up to me, because, like I said, growing up, I never heard nobody say Jamie Foxx was less than a man because he played Wanda. I never heard anybody. He was always the sex symbol that I saw. People swooning over him. He's singing his show. They was all falling all over the place. So nobody, like, he had that dress on that time. So I don't really see him as a man. It never happened. So
Exactly.
All right,
exactly.
y'all.
I second that.
You second that?
I do.
Right.
She absolutely got a point, because the thing about it is, and I know we're gonna move on, but the thing about it is, people need to understand that people choose. Like, we got to get out of this whole, this what made me do this, and this is what influenced. Like, all behavior is a choice. So who really trying to turn you into a woman? Can't nobody do that unless you choose to participate in certain things. Like, really, like, all behavior is a choice. And to anybody out there who, they just, they're just kind of like, oh, well, y'all don't really see it, or y'all don't get it because you're women. I do get one basic principle. Can't nobody make you do something unless you sign up and get in there, and when they tell you, oh, you need to put on this and put on that, nothing's gonna happen unless you move. So this whole thing that society is trying to turn a black man into something, if you got a problem with it, stop subscribing to it, stop going to the movie, stop buying the material.
I was gonna say, like, I can understand if black men don't like that, if they don't like that image, and even if it's been popular for decades or centuries, if they decide, this is not the image that we want to project, I actually support that. But like you said, Jovo, I agree. Then put the pressure on the men to, make a different decision. And
what about the era in
society?
What about the era in social media where so many men was doing it? Who was making them do it? Like they was just sitting at home and turned on their camera and put a wig. Like, who told them to do that?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Just like in the comments, you don't want to wear a dress, don't put on one.
Yeah.
You can make it another way.
Like, take ownership of your image. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and move on.
Niggas be lying anyway.
What you say, Donna?
All these niggas be lying anyway. They'll wear a dress for a couple $1 million. I'm telling you, they will. They can say that. They can say they won't right now because it never happened. No one will ever present them with $2 million to wear a dress, so they can arrogantly say, "I will never wear a dress for money." You can say that right now because it never happened. But if it happened and someone came to you with $10 million in cash, you will fucking put on a dress and act the roll out. I ain't trying to hear nothing what these goofies be talking about.
Okay. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and move on. For those of you who are just tuning in, welcome to the Ladies' Room. We are back, y'all. We've been on the hiatus, but we are back, and we miss being on the show, and we miss you guys. So make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to our channel and share it so other people can know about our show and be a part of it. I also want to tell you guys about, I'm sorry, not Clubhouse. I want to tell you guys about our own individual shows, which will eventually kick back off soon. We got a combo with Jovo. It used to be on Clubhouse. It will no longer be on Clubhouse. It'll be on YouTube. We're going to start that back up soon, second Thursdays of the month. And it starts at 8:30 p.m. Jovo, you want to talk a little bit about what you're going to talk about on this show?
Come get this free therapy because I got some stuff for y'all. We need to heal. We need to set good boundaries. We need to have realistic expectations. It's a new year. Come get this free therapy while you strolling through YouTube. Come get this coping skill. I got one for you.
And let them know how long you've been a therapist.
I have been a certified substance abuse counselor and addictions counselor since 2009. I have been working in mental health since 2008. Oh, wow. Yes. Probably longer than that. So I have done it all. And come get this free therapy. I got you.
All right. I also want to tell everybody about Mrs. Cannon Hill's show, Candid with Cannon. It will not be on Clubhouse. I know it says Clubhouse, but it's actually YouTube every third Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern. We're going to kick that off really soon. So be looking forward to that. Cannon likes to talk about some of everything. Cannon, you want to kind of promo yourself a little bit?
Yeah, we definitely will be talking about a lot of everything, probably mostly, family stuff and just some things that you can do just to make your life a little bit easier as especially a working mom, wife, business professional, entrepreneur, those types of things.
All right, thank you. And last but certainly not least, we got Real Talk with Raven. She will be on YouTube Mondays, probably at around 9 p.m. Eastern. 9 p.m. Eastern, right? So we're going to change up the time a little bit, but look out for Real Talk with Raven. And Raven, what are some things you like to talk
about? Everything real nigga shit only.
I love it. Let me find out you are thug. Let me find out.
As you know.
Right. I love it. And stay tuned for my show as well. I'm going to do something, I'll talk about it a little later, but I'll keep that on lock a little bit. But we'll talk about that later.
I got something coming too.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. It's gonna be like a nightcap music session, and we're gonna talk about different music songs and how it relates to things that goes on in everybody's life. It's gonna be it's gonna be like a nice little jam session. Get your wine, your drink, and then we go listen to some. It's gonna be mostly R&B. I don't really do the rap, but we go listen to a lot of R&B, and we go dig deep into what they really saying and how it hits you. You know what I'm saying, and how a lot of songs got you through some things in life. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of R&B got me through a lot of things in life, and I know everybody else can relate too. So we go dig deep into a lot of good songs and talk about it.
Oh, I love this.
I like that, Darwin. I didn't know about that. I thought she was saying that first. Okay.
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to our next topic. This topic is centered around a video or influence from a video between the gospel singer Erica Campbell. She's half of the duo Mary Mary. And she had an interesting conversation with her daughter. And I want you guys to watch it. And then we're going to talk about colorism 2.0. What does it look like in 2024? We know what colorism and racism looked like decades ago, but what does it look like in 2024 and how can we address it? All right. So let's go ahead. I'm going to play the video.
Bothering Krista about school more than she was letting on. I don't want to put her on the spot with the whole family. That probably would make her uncomfortable, and I don't want that.
Is there an issue?
Not an issue. It's more like just something that I kind of noticed.
if you look at all my friends, church and school, I'm a chubby friend. And it's not like, oh God, I just have accepted it, you know.
You're not the fat friend, Chris.
I noticed that I'm left out. You know, a lot of guys and talk to them, I'm left out. I'm left to the side. And I think that's why.
Guys talk to you.
It's different. It is.
And do you think it has something to do with your size?
Absolutely. I know it is. I'm not saying that no guys want chubby girls. I'm just saying that that's personally me.
But I don't think that's the case. I think that's the way you're seeing it.
Because it's not that I'm ugly or something. Am I ugly?
No. Why would she ask me that? Why would she ask me, am I ugly? I'm your mama. I only see beauty in your eyes.
My size of
No, baby. You're gorgeous. And you know, look at this face. This is my face. It's brown. It's a combination.
That's something too. A lot of the guys like light skin girls.
Like what?
A lot of the guys like light skin girls. Look at our family. Look at the family. You and Dad, light skin, dark skin. Auntie and Uncle Ted, light skin, dark skin. Auntie and Uncle Des, light skin, dark skin. The only two dark skin families is Auntie Lisa, Uncle Errol, and Nana and Grandpa.
That's still two. It's not. Look at all these beautiful brown women in the world. Look at Gabrielle Union. She's brown,
wait,
gorgeous, amazing husband. Look at Kelly Rowland, beautiful. Like, these are beautiful brown women everywhere.
Mom, think
all around you.
You're light skin, so you don't really know exactly how it feels, you know?
All these things that you want to have answers to, sometimes I don't. And right now I don't. What to do, what to tell her, how to lift her, how to make her smile, how to tell her not to worry. I got to figure it out.
All right. When I saw that, my heart went out to the little girl. One of the things that I first thought about was how Erica Campbell as a mom handled the situation. Now, I don't want to criticize her because she's just a mom, like she said, who's trying to figure it out, right? She doesn't have all the options or all the answers. And I think that she probably had her own emotional response when she heard her daughter saying those things. So her reaction was to tell her, no, that's not true. That's not true, right? So I don't criticize Erica Campbell for her response, but I did think that it's like a teachable moment. I'm sorry, I didn't realize my camera wasn't on.
I was like, she had.
I do think it was like a teachable moment for just parents. Like when your kids come to you, it's important not to gaslight them. You know, it's natural, I think, sometimes for people to be like, no, it's not true. You know, that's not what's happening. But when you deny what somebody's experiencing, you know, you're not helping them, right? You might frustrate them. You might make them internalize that and think something's wrong with them, you know, even more so than what they're already thinking. So, and it doesn't address the issue, you know. So I think that was one of the things that stuck out to me. But then Cannon, after talking to Cannon, I was like, you know what? This is a good, you know, reference for a discussion around colorism today, Colorism 2.0. So what do you all think? The question is, Colorism 2.0, what does it look like in 2024? Who wants to go first?
I'll start.
I'll go first. Okay, just kidding.
No, I just wanted to throw in there that I don't think that we don't want to judge her because like every parent drops the ball somewhere, whatever. But I think it's important to point out that there are some fundamentals that as Black people, we should be talking about these things with our kids from a very early age. It shouldn't take for her to get to be however old she was for this to be the first time this is coming up. Because we already should be aware of how innocuous those things show up now. Like it's still here. Like we can't just ignore it away. Like we can't be acting all like this colorblind that we want to have so bad, right? So it's like now we have to keep our pulse on the way people are having conversations, the way people talk about dark skin versus light skin. How I think Ms. Jovo mentioned it the other day where like, oh, you pretty for a dark skinned girl, like stuff that sounds innocuous, but it's actually quite harmful. It's like we have to be aware of those things and we have to be talking to our, like, you know, your kid is dark skinned. you know that they dark skinned. Like I have 2 dark skinned daughters. I'm constantly talking to them about that type of stuff all the time because other people gonna be saying stuff to them. Like I already know, you know, like the experience that they gonna have. So I'm getting ahead of it, right? I'm jumping ahead of the game because I already know what's coming down the line. So I want them to already be prepared and not to be blindsided or confused about it. So I think that it's super important that we just have those standard conversations, just like we say, you know, as Black people, we have conversations with our kids about how to interact with the police and all that stuff. We need to be having conversations with them about colorism and things like that as well, because it's stuff that's happening that they're going to experience. So we have to prepare them.
Yeah,
exactly.
Ava says she should have just given her daughter a hug and thought about it because it gave. I'm sorry, that's because she would. I think she's saying because she would be she was invalidating her personal experiences. I agree. I think the name is Taishikia. Sorry if I said it wrong. She says she says we as parents feel helpless and immediately try to save the kids. And then there's Nick Sells. We got a lot of great comments tonight. Parenting does not have a manual. Sometimes you're caught off guard and you just respond with love. Yes. Clayton Stanley says, agreed. There is no manual to parenting because every situation is different with different ways to approach. That is so true. All right. So what do you all think? Cannon, you shared the coldest. What do you think?
I think, like they said, or like Ava said in the comments, she invalidated her experience. It could have been a real teaching moment. They could have expounded past relationships to jobs to your likelihood of being incarcerated, all these things that are affected by your skin color. But instead, it was just shut down. And girl, don't think about it like that. That's the reality of the world you live in. You might get followed around in the store just because you're dark skinned. Just that simple. You came in too dark. Now we're going to follow you around the store. It's just, it may not even be about relationships. But when you close it off, you close off the conversation for all of that.
Yeah.
So I do think, I understand her wanting to respond in love, but preparation is also love. If you keep sheltering her and, making her think that the world is filled with roses, then when she finds out it's not, she's not going to look at what you did as love. She's probably going to be resentful.
And she's still going to have the same problems. So you're not really helping her. I think colorism is hard to prove. Like I hear so many different people deny that it exists, right? Like some very famous podcasters in our community, Black people, say colorism is not real, but it's very much real. The problem is that it's so hard to prove. You can't prove how people think, right? Or I don't know what it is. Yeah, exactly. We see it.
And it's a worldwide phenomenon. People literally sell skin lightening creams.
It's easy to prove. People just ignore it. But people will literally be like, oh, you know how light-skinned people act, or you know how people will say
can't quantify. We have all these anecdotal experiences. I have a ton. Okay. Working in Chicago public schools, you see it so much. I remember more recently, and actually I'm not in Chicago public schools anymore, but I see it a lot. I saw it today, with a community that is predominantly white, and we have a lot of different nationalities, and there is just so much colorism, so much, oh, you're too dark, and the kids calling each other darky and blacky and black as an insult. I remember, so many situations. When I was teaching 6th grade, this one little boy told a little girl who's very dark skinned, she's too burnt to have a man. That's what he said, So kids are picking these things up, and they're going to become adults who have these types of thinking. But unfortunately, there are people who still try to deny it. Okay.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
We gotta be realistic with our kids about what's coming. I'm at the cusp at the beginning of middle school, and now it's what my hair looks like, and what I look like every day when I go to school and things like that. the reality of it is that these things are reality. And I think in that moment, her daughter was sharing with her the reality. Her daughter was sharing with her the reality. Okay. That this, that mom, I literally see this when I go to school. I literally feel left out. This is what's happening to me. And I think to piggyback on what Ty said, instead of trying to like just, like try to save and protect, because we do that as parents. We don't want them to experience none of the negative stuff that's out there in the world. Instead of us always trying to like put a band-aid on it, we need to be having these conversations that, yeah, there are some people who are going to tease you because your skin is darker, or there are going to be some people that tease you because your nose is a little bit wider, or that, like with me, big nose, skinny eyes, I went through that, or you're dark, or right down to even with the hair, texture of hair, how, in our community, we have like this obsession, especially in the South, about, she got long hair down her back and she this skin color, versus being, dark with the afro, or whatever. Just looking at the two differences or whatever. Like, I grew up seeing that even in my family, and it just carries in generations. That's what it does. It just carries from one generation to the next. So I think in that moment, when your child is coming to you and they're saying that this is what it's like at school, these are who the boys are gravitating to, these are who the girls want to invite to the party and not me. Like, listen and be realistic with them, and let them know that there are going to literally be people out there that you're not going to be their preference. They're not going to pick you. They're going to judge it off of so many different things. Some of them are going to judge it off of how you look. And instead of just trying to, like I said, put a Band-Aid on it and say, oh, it's not that bad, let's have these realistic conversations. Like, let's let them know that those people exist, but you're enough. You're beautiful. What can we do to increase your self-love, your self-esteem, so you'll like what you see when you're in the mirror? Because you can have 25,000 aunts and uncles and cousins and whomever in your life to tell you that you're beautiful. Until you see it, this will be a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to get real. We got to have the real.
Do you think if they had the real conversation, they would have to address all the examples that the little girl used of her brothers and all these dark-skinned men that are going after the light-skinned woman? Like, do you think that's why she avoided the question? Because then we got to have the conversation about all these. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. With her, but
it made her uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And sometimes as parents, when we get uncomfortable, we start deflecting. And when we really just need to be like, hey, you see it in the comments, just listen, or say, you know what, I don't know. Or I don't know why that person would prefer that. Or yeah, some people do have this preference. Like, just don't make it seem like that they're creating a scenario in their head when this is a real issue.
Mm-hmm. I like that. And just prepare them. Like, okay, some people will like brown skin, some people like dark, some people will like light, and you have to love yourself regardless. So I like that.
Absolutely.
I was gonna ask, or I wanted to say something real fast. So one thing I also noticed is when she was talking to her, she referenced some very famous darker skinned women like Kelly Rowland. I think she said, like, did she say Gabrielle Union? Very pretty women. Huh? What she call your boo? Don't get hit now.
I got a thing for Gabby. That's my caller. She let me call
But like, I think sometimes like that's the argument that people use to say colorism doesn't exist. Like, look at Gabrielle Union, look at Kelly Rowland, look at Naomi Campbell. And I think that it's great to like have those examples, but I think we have to remember, regardless of what color you are, those women are still considered like above average looking women, right? For whatever reason, their features, their body types, whatever, they're considered above average looking to most people. And so I think sometimes when I hear, especially like a lot of men try to deny that colorism exists because of those women, I'm like, that's like a slap in the face to just everyday dark-skinned Black girls. Like, who feel like they have to be just gorgeous, like supermodels, in order to be considered attractive. Like, you know, that's where that whole.
Well, but I'm pretty sure they went through some colorism too, though.
What you say?
I'm pretty sure that they went through some colorism too in their life.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did. Because colorism is so much more than just about who you find pretty. You know, it's like the associations that you make to people because of their skin color. You know, it's how you treat them, how you know, so many different things.
I mean, like,
do you guys remember when they said Sweetie wouldn't have got Sweetie, the rapper, whatever? She wouldn't have got where she was at if she wasn't light skinned, or you know, whatever the case is. In the event, I don't know too much about Erica Campbell. Don't judge me. Whatever. In the event Erica Campbell benefited from colorism, do you think she would realistically even have that conversation with her dark skinned daughter?
Yeah.
Like,
that's what I was about to say. That
come on now, guys. I wouldn't tell her shit.
Going back to, I mean, obviously, because like I said, to me, as a Black person and a Black woman, what's the and a Black woman who has dark skinned daughters, right? It stood out to me that you would be so blindsided by that conversation. You like, where did this go? What? Like, you see what you like, and especially when you think about the adultification of young Black girls, she fits the prime description of a young girl who's going to be treated older than her years, to have a worse attitude, all of these other perceptions that people won't have of her just because she's bigger and because she's dark. You should have been talking about this. What's happening? Like, you should get ahead of it. Like, what you just not but like she said, it's almost like forcing yourself to be blind. Though it's like those, like I said, those to me, like those white people who adopt Black kids and be like, we colorblind. We don't see color over here like everybody else do though. Like, what's going on? Like,
right.
That's exactly what I was thinking. And who would think that a white adoptive parent would talk to their Black children realistically about white supremacy? I mean, it just seemed crazy if Erica Campbell had came with some, like, you know, really insightful conversation, I would have been blown away. But I mean, she can't speak to a reality she don't know.
You don't think she can speak about it?
Well, based off her response, it sounds like you guys said, like she's been shielding herself from even imagining that colorism could exist. So at her grown age, hell no.
So it's not
age, no. It's too late.
It's not that she's lighter. It's just because of what you've learned about so far that makes you think that she's not ready to talk about it. Yeah, I agree with that.
Oh yeah. I mean, because even with lighting, is she even light skinned? Who knows?
I mean,
you put enough light on somebody, everybody light skinned.
But look at how we was talking about Tyler Perry earlier. He's a prime, a multiple repeat offender of perpetuating colorism. Because in every movie,
all the villains are dark skinned and bald headed.
Every time, and light
skinned man, a light skinned dude with some bad hair
never fails.
That's all we need.
Okay.
Bad hair.
About that.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm not gonna really talk about I think women have it worse than men when it comes to colorism and stuff like that, because I think women are like, society judges women based off their beauty a lot, right? So I'm just gonna talk about my perspective with the colorism thing and how it affected me. So a long time ago, when I was little, when I was a kid, I was in like 3rd grade. I went to Holmes Elementary School, and I had a bully. Well, this was a school bully. He went around bullying everybody. He was dark-skinned. And now, I always used to fight, didn't have a problem fighting anybody. But for some reason, I always thought dark-skinned people was just like so rough and tough, and they'll beat your ass. Like, you know, like, don't mess with no dark-skinned motherfuckers. They will fuck you up. I had this thing. That was my thing. You know what I'm saying? Me being in 3rd grade, I didn't know nothing. I wasn't thinking about colorism stuff. No one ever had this talk with me or anything. And it's something I really kept to myself. I really didn't tell no one, like, oh, you know. But I had an encounter with him, and I beat his ass. And I guess that was the moment I realized, like, oh, he's just regular. He just like everybody else, right? No, that's how it was. And growing up, talking about colorism, I understand, like, I really can't say where people, well, I know where they got it, like the media and stuff like that. And when they say dark is bad and white is right and stuff like that, because the media things. So that's my experience about that. And not too long ago, I had a conversation with a really good friend, and he has 4 dark-skinned daughters. And the things he was saying about dark-skinned women it tore me up, right? And I was like, you got 4 dark-skinned daughters. You have a dark-skinned mother. You have dark-skinned family. Like your girlfriend is dark-skinned. So how can you sit up here and say, you know, like, and it was around the time when Kevin Samuels was talking about that, black women are the ugliest women on earth and this and that and all this stuff. And I was just, and he was agreeing with it. And I was just looking at him like, you have to understand the hate that you have for yourself to even agree with something like that, right? And you have to really understand why you think that way. Why do you think? And he refused to call his daughters ugly, but you're saying that if you agree with anything that's even remote, the same thing what Kevin Samuels was saying, right? So I know colorism is a real thing. It's just people are in denial about it, and they don't really want to dig and look within themselves to see why they have this problem. And I think if they did do it, they would be disappointed in themselves. So they try to deny it, right? So they don't have to deal with that disgusting feeling that they're going to have, and people need to just deal with it. It's happening. It's a real thing. Now, either you go fix it or not, because the things that you say and how you act determines if you have a problem with it. People can say all day long like ain't colorism don't exist, but how do you act towards a light-skinned person, dark-skinned person? What the things that you say towards these people, and we all see it. You know what I'm saying? So that's the experience I have to let y'all know like colorism is real. Like, I have never really felt that I have gotten the small stick or something because I don't know if I'm a dark skinned person. I don't know. Okay, I just never dealt with it personally.
No, you like in the middle. So.
You don't consider okay.
I grew up dark skinned.
A lot of times people don't agree on what's light skin and what's dark skin. Like some people consider me light skin, and then some people would be like, "What? She's not light skin." Like I've heard both, which is crazy.
Me and my brother are both darks. Shout out to Clayton Stanley in the chat. And don't be mad because you couldn't get the dude kick when we was growing up. You had great hair. Anyway, that's my brother.
But I don't think because they had a conversation with Denzel Washington, so he wasn't light skinned.
Right. He was brown. Like people dark to me.
That's why I say Sidney Poitier was the man.
Right. Like dark to me would be like Nat King Cole. When he was when he like for him like
Sammy Davis Jr.
Yeah, there you go. Like dark. Like me and my brother both grew up dark. And as a dark-skinned girl who, like my thing was I'm a spitting image of my mom. Like a spitting image. But my mom had like hair that grew down to her butt. And so all I heard when I was little was, you look just like your mama, but you ain't got her hair. And I just, the little grown person inside of me would be rolling my eyes like, I'm me. I'm not her. I'm myself. Like I love my mama, but I'm me. And I think that's the conversation we got to have with our children. That I think sometimes parents don't know how to separate themselves from their kids. Like I have to catch myself and having conversations with my daughter. She's not me. She is her own little individual young woman. So we got to really push the conversation towards how are we going to do self-empowerment for her, not how uncomfortable it is if she tell me I don't like what I look like when I wear my hair like this or that. It's about her, and we got to stop making it about like us. Like the cycle got to be broken. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody in the family got to be like, okay, bump this dark skin, light skin, long hair, short hair, whatever stuff. Let's talk about you being the best version of yourself inside and outside.
Yeah.
So yeah. And that's not going to be a comfortable conversation. Because I could really see that Erica Campbell was uncomfortable, especially when she touched that baby face and said that, you look like me. That baby looked like her daddy, Erica. Now let's just be real. Okay. I don't see you in your daughter. Just like my daughter don't look like me. I'm not offended by that. Like she's her own little person. And she might have some of your features, but her dad's skin color. Because I think Erica Campbell's husband is dark skinned. So like you're developing them to be their own person. It can't just keep being an extension of us.
Okay. I like that. All right. So there are some people in the chat who have some good comments. I just want to point out that you guys can join our live stream. The link is in the chat. If you'd like to come on and be a part of the panel and give your 2 cents, please do so. Don't forget to subscribe. And thank you guys for watching. All right. So I wanted to play this little short video before we move on to the next topic.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you're still watching, Cheryl. I don't know if you're still watching, Sister Cheryl, but this is for you, okay? I hope you're still watching.
And I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all. I'm blickety black, blacker than black, black, I'm blacker than black, yo, because I'm black and I'm black. Yo, I'm black and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blickety black, 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 y'all, and I'm black. And I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than.
I ain't seen that in a minute.
I know. There's somebody I know, Cheryl, who she always does that. She's like, I'm blackity black, black, black.
Okay.
She loves it. So
okay.
Cheryl, I love to watch it, but that was for you.
Yes.
Right.
Love it.
So this next topic, y'all, is actually just kind of for fun. Raven actually wants to do this, and she's not even here. But we're going to talk about the judge who just got attacked. And so I want to play the video, and then the question about this is going to be, why do we defend, or who deserves defense? Who deserves defense? Like, who deserves for Black people to be like, you know what? No, I'm gonna take up for you. Like, you wrong. It's like, you know, how, like, when do we draw the line at who we defend? Was this man standing on business, or was he taking a leap of faith? So kind of like a two-part question, all right? All right. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna play this video. All righty. Here it is. All right.
I just can't with that history. In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, this court.
Oh, man. You're good. Stop. Hey, radio somebody? Give me all the on.
Oh, shame, man. She's like a hospital. Oh, my gosh, dude. No. To bring him back. To bring him hit her head, bro. Yeah. She hit her head. She hit her head. Hard.
All right, what y'all think?
Who about to lose your job? Nah, somebody needs to be fired. How that man get over there that late?
You saw how he got over there. Ain't nobody trained for that right there. You jumped over
that is their job to make sure them folks not get to that lady, okay?
I'll tell you one thing. He's still in the infirmary right now. They fucked him up. I know them guards fucked him up.
No, you don't have the video of him coming back to court. They had the mask on him, his hands on. They brought him in that look like Hannibal Lecter.
Yes, he looked like the little mask. Yes, looking like Hannibal. Yes, exactly. I saw it this morning on the news, and I was like,
"He out of jail?
Oh my god!" And then under the mask, he almost looked like happy. I wonder if they under the mask, like, you know how you can tell when people are happy or entertained. That's what his eyes look like in the mask. And I'm sitting here thinking, how
He has smiling
sedated or
eyes,
medicated
Jovo.
do they have to have him?
You want to know why he was smiling? He was happy. Every
What's
motherfucking
it
body.
like?
I want to hit a white motherfucker like that. Like, seriously, right?
Oh my God.
Hey,
His sister did say
I'm trying to tell you. It's something in us that want to get in that. Like, you ever went to an introduction of African American history studies class in college, and the stuff that you find out how you have this little inner hate. What I ain't saying I hate him, but it's something. Hey, I'm trying to tell you that dude was happy when that's why he happy. That's why he happy. What else would I gotta.
You think
he was happy?
You think he was happy like them people? You think he was happy about them people like them people from that riverboat incident? Like like I think what Darwin is saying, the same situation. Like when that riverboat situation played out last year, and people were getting on the internet like, I stand with my people with the chair. It's like, what?
But that started because they were antagonizing. They jumped on the guy first, and he was in self-defense.
This is the thing. Any black man in a court system go feel antagonized. That's just how we go. That's just how we go feel.
Yeah, he could feel like that, but he was there for domestic violence. He was already
talking about how he feel. We talking about how he feel.
So that brings me to the question, and I want to clarify the question. So we kind of have like two questions. Stand on business, and this was a Raven question. Who's not here? She got to hurry up and come back. So was he standing on business or taking a leap of faith? And basically, what we're thinking is like, because of what you're talking about, Darwin, like there are so many black people who are like, yeah, those white folks, black men are always being beat up in the court system, the judicial system. That was like payback, So some people responded that way, or some people kind of took it real lighthearted and laughed because they're like, look, that was funny. A white judge got what, she deserved, right? Some people kind of took it that way. So my question is, who do we defend? And like,
who do we defend?
This question.
Not some man that was busy already knocking some woman head between the washer and the dryer at the crib.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, a lot of people were like, "Oh man, he's about to get an unfair sentence, or she shouldn't preside over him anymore or preside over the court anymore if he's, for any of his cases because she wouldn't be fair. She would be biased. So are we defending him? Are we?
No, I'm not. I'm with Cannon. This man got a history of violence. Clearly, what he did was not like, it was shocking, but it was not surprising. Like, he got a history of violence, and if he's got a history of domestic violence, knocking some woman around or whatever, family violence, everything he got coming to him, he deserve it. Like, I need us to take some accountability. Like, I understand that the system was not, quote unquote, designed for us, but at the same time, you can't come to a court of law and take a leap towards a public official. Like, no, that's not acceptable. That's not acceptable at all. No. So he might have took a leap of faith, but what does the Bible say? Faith without works is dead. His faith dead. Dunzo. I'm just saying, dunzo. You going to jail, directly to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
Okay, that's funny. I want to know what everybody else has to say. Make sure you guys put it in the chat, and you can also join our live stream. What you think, Darwin?
About dude?
Yeah.
Oh, he bogus. But he was standing on business at the same time. For whatever reason, hey, he was standing on business. That's his business. Ain't my business. That was his business. Listen here. That judge was coming down on him, telling him, giving him, reading him, and he got mad. He got in his feelings. He dead wrong for what he did. He couldn't handle the punishment, and he felt like, hey, you bogus. So he did what he had to do. Hey, and the judge, they got to do what they got to do. Like, hey, I ain't defending it. Hey, I think he probably should have got like another 10 years added to that, because that was some, I don't know.
That means he got literally no respect for no kind of consequences. That's a dangerous man right there.
Hey, you already know how you feel when it comes to authority like that.
That's a menace to society right there.
And the fact that he really thinks he doesn't deserve to go back to prison.
You pick the behavior, you pick the consequence.
If he would do that in court, surrounded by all of those police authority figures, somebody who sends to him to jail, got his life in his hands. Imagine what he do to people out here in the world.
That part. He is not, it ain't safe for him to be out. Because today it was him leaping over the counter at the judge. Tomorrow he could be getting a sandwich at McDonald's or somewhere and they give you an order wrong. And how many videos we got of that on the internet where they take a leap of faith and they leap over and catch old girl at the cash register? Like, no.
He brought out his inner Will Smith on that one. You know what I'm saying? He brought out like that's what shit. Like that's what shit you just don't do. Like you don't go in the Oscars and go walk up and slap nobody. Just like you don't go and jump on no judge. Like you just don't do it. But
you don't. And a sidebar to the person in the comments that said white people punishing black people. When you choose certain behaviors, you choose the consequence. This is what I tell people when I'm treating them. Like you got to understand that your feelings are not facts. So just because you're angry towards the white system, facts are, if you attack a public official, an official of the courts, you are going to jail, directly to jail. Those are the
black
facts.
Judges too. So shit, if it was a black judge, he'd get
right.
the same person.
If it was a black judge, he would be it would be the same consequence. You cannot do that. Like your feelings are not facts. Just because you're angry, don't give you the right to say, okay, yeah, I'm gonna just start knocking heads. That's not what you do. That's not what you do.
I feel like people like that can't never get out of jail because you already know what he about to do when he get out. He gonna feel like the person that responsible for all that, what he about to do? What he about to do? That woman better not take him back. Like most women take their men back after they come home from jail after that shit. He gonna he about to be feeling like this what you got me. Hey, they need to keep him locked the fuck up.
And then he advocated for himself in court to be placed on probation.
Shit.
But they did this to you in the past. Like he was on probation in the past.
Yeah.
Like,
you guys pretty much verbalized everything I was thinking because I saw the video and I was like, oh man, that's kind of funny. But you know, then reading up the context of why he was in there, then it just it made.
I'm sorry.
My bad. But it made me, it gave me like a little twinge in my heart, fork in the road for me because although we're making jokes about it because that's just what black people do. We make comedy out of everything. It's not funny that he's always in court for beating up on people, whether it be women, children, whoever he beating up on. And for that to be enough for him to be provoked to jump on her, imagine what he's doing behind closed doors. Yeah. Imagine how he's being provoked at home. Like, it's crazy. And then the most insane part is that she only gave him like a year and a half. He went back to court the other day. They gave him like 13, 14 felonies. So it's crazy. But that's why I said stand on business, because it just seemed like, it backtracked a lot of stuff we do say about protect black women.
It's the same code on the street, okay? In the gangs, whatever, organized crime. When you touch somebody at the top, or like the same response you get when there's an officer that's down and other surrounding officers, especially in Georgia. If you grew up in the South, you can have an officer down in College Park. I'm talking about Roswell, Alpharetta, everybody coming. They all stand together. So that's what I said. He chose a behavior. He chose the consequences. He had to know that all these other judges, the DA, the feds that got involved, they're like, we gonna make an example out of him. And that's what they did with the felonies. I've seen it too many times. That's exactly what they did. This is why mental health treatment is so important. That's my PSA for tonight. This is why he should have been got therapy and help.
Yeah, Ava.
But the problem with go ahead, Ashley. I'm sorry.
Ava brings up a point. She brings up the mental health issue. She says, why antagonize a clearly unstable person? And someone else, I think Clayton, also brought up mental health concerns. But
But do y'all think he was being antagonized?
I think that's definitely something you have to take into consideration. But we really don't know if he has mental health concerns.
Right.
And let me tell you,
because what he's so irrational. But you know, a lot of mentally stable people just make bad choices.
And let me tell you, you can you can still have the consequence you get and still get mental health treatment. It's just gonna look different. We got that's the other part we got to separate too. Like you still should have consequences.
And I mean, and I don't think that the judge was antagonizing him. He had got plenty slips on the wrist, and he come up in there again. How you think somebody's gonna talk to you?
Right, like she was telling him this is what you did, and this is why you getting this. That's not being antagonized. She wasn't lying on him. She wasn't yelling at him. She wasn't calling like her tone was very chill. Like I've said in court plenty of times. Watch this. She wasn't antagonizing him at all. I mean,
no,
just because things that he didn't want to hear, that don't mean he was being antagonized. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what happened. That's what he did. That shit.
Right. Her listing out what he did and his consequences is antagonizing. What?
No. I agree, y'all. Yeah. All right. So we do want to hear from everybody. So go ahead and keep writing in the chat, but if you guys want to come up, you are more than welcome to come up on the platform and be on the panel. All right, so the link is in the chat, and we do want to hear from y'all. All right, so and you can make a comment about anything that we talked about tonight. All right, I want to move on to the last topic. I lied, I thought that was going to be the last topic, but we have one more. We have one more, and this one is about who everybody is talking about right now, Jonathan Majors, and who and Megan Good, who he wants to be Coretta Scott King.
Everybody to be Coretta Scott King, child.
There are so many different angles we could go with this, like so many different questions, right, with this situation. But
the court dressed like a runaway slave.
Yeah, we know what he was masturbating to when he was a little kid.
Kenny, what Kenny? What you say?
He kept showing up to court looking like a runaway slave. I'm like, is he in character? Like, what is he doing?
Like that.
He got something going on. I don't know.
Like,
it's weird.
People know how to look like, and I quote, like I got many rivers to cross. Because it'd be a whole different picture once they be in court. I'm telling you. Like, I'm out here, I'm bad, and I'm popping. And then you in court, you all.
No, he got to be a method actor, and he got to be a method actor right now, shooting for old period movie or something. I promise you. Because why he dressing like that, and why he infatuated with Coretta Scott King? It's something I don't know. He got something going
on. Oh Lord!
All right, so all right. So, question is: do Black women have a savior complex? Now, there are so many questions, right, that we can ask pertaining to this whole situation, right, with Megan Good. You know, one of my things was, and I'm not saying this is true. I'm not saying there are any there's any hardcore evidence for this, but one of my thoughts was, or questions was, do Black men go to Black women when they're down? That was one of my questions, because we've seen that, right? We saw it with like Lamar Odom. We've seen it with so many people, like Young so many, Jeezy. Men, like when they're down, then they go back. Yeah, Young Jeezy, they go back to the Black woman. And we saw this. It was interesting that Jonathan Majors is hit with this lawsuit about sexual abuse or physical abuse, not sexual abuse. And then he's now with a Black girl. So anyway, that was one question that I thought of. But another question that people have brought to me is, or I think it was you, Cannon, do Black women ever win with the savior complex? And do we have a savior complex? What do y'all think?
Yes. And I saw it was so funny because I saw somebody doing commentary on this the other day, and he was talking about how he was like, Megan Good then went through her whole career and she ain't looked like this and looked like that. I'm like, this is the same lady that let Khloe Kardashian put her on a leash. Okay, I don't know what y'all talking about. Like that's like this is right par for the course. Okay, like she's the perfect example, I think. Right? It's like. But yeah, it's classic, and I think it's programming. I think it's cultural. I think it's this thing you gotta. Maybe that's why he keeps saying that. I need my Coretta Scott King. I don't know. Maybe somewhere along the assembly line he was promised one and he didn't get it. I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna be a little optimistic. I like Jonathan Majors. I took it as him thinking, I just want a woman that's gonna be by my side and support me.
But
and
why is it about the civil rights movement that you picking though? Is what I'm saying. Like why? Why did he even say Michelle Obama? Like why is it Coretta Scott King?
yeah. But I don't know. Maybe he has some type of obsession with Correct, but that's how I took it. Like, okay, he just wants a woman by his side. I don't know.
That's gonna get cheated on while he out here being a great man.
See, the thing is this: he's trying to manipulate black people, right? So he used Coretta Scott King because he know Martin Luther King is near and dear to our hearts, and black people are like one of the only races that don't hold black men accountable. We look at the R. Kellys, all these black women. Lining up to free R. Kelly, this and that. And all, come on, black women have this savior complex. Like they go try to see good in anything black men do, no matter what it is, right? We have all these sex offenders that black women still gravitate to and want them out. Bill Cosby, everybody was still chanting for him, and we had all types of proof of what was going on. So it's like he's went back to the people he knew was going to hold him down no matter what, and that's what happens. You know what I'm saying? And he should, and anybody will go back to their safe place, and that should be a safe place, us black people. But hey, I mean,
but he wasn't bringing up Martin Luther King for us because he was saying that to the white woman in a private conversation, and he didn't know it was being recorded. He told her to act like that, so that wasn't for us.
Right, the first time, right? He told the white woman.
That's what I was gonna start with. It wasn't for us. He is lacking some accountability in this, and also the savior complex. So let's separate helpmate from savior. Because when I hear save, I hear somebody who they cleaning up your mess, they helping you. You might be held accountable, but they helping the steam. Like not be as hot. When you get caught up or when you get called out, they literally are saving you. But see, the problem with that is that's unrealistic. Like you should never want to be in a relationship with somebody where you're expecting them to save you. You see what I'm saying? Like that's scary to me. Like Coretta didn't save Martin. She stood behind him and beside him or whatever you want to call it, but she didn't save him. Like people need to really think about what they say on the internet before they say it, and really think about what they type in before they type it, because saving someone that in the comments is doomed to fail. Like who wants to be the person to clean up behind you every time you make intentional choices and get into situations that are high risk? Like, and I think I said this the other day when we were talking, you cannot convince me that him and this other young lady that took him to court had not been in a similar situation like this before. Like this stuff don't just happen all out of the blue. And I do like anger, violence, and assessments for a living. When this type of stuff happens, this is undocumented. And what I mean by that is behavior that has not been observed by law enforcement. They've been digging at each other. And now he's being held accountable for his part in it. And now all of a sudden, Megan's standing by him like Coretta. Don't be doing that. Don't do that. She is not Coretta. You would have said this girl wore a leash. What is Coretta in that?
Oh.
Nowhere. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I love the response that Dr. Martin Luther King's daughter had, not so much to Jonathan Majors asking for Coretta, but to like some of the, like, have you guys seen the memes about Coretta saying that just various things? Let me see if I can find some.
She definitely wasn't a prop. Absolutely.
Yeah, and like they're kind of like making it seem like some of them were just kind of making it seem like, oh, I want me a Coretta, and like, you know what I mean, like, and it was becoming a meme. And so she said, my mother wasn't a prop. She was a peace advocate before she met my father and was instrumental in him speaking out against the Vietnam War. Please understand, my mama was a force. So she wasn't just like a sidekick. She was who she was, and then she paired with a man who had a mission, and she complemented that mission. I wanted to try to find some of these memes that people were sharing that did kind of like deduce her into, just, being a prop, basically. But anyway, not Jovo, Raven, what do you have to say about this?
I think you guys have said so much, and so much of what I was thinking. It seems like more so they were not a savior, but like or I don't want to say a cleanup crew. I don't know. I guess that is a savior. It seems like we're everything. We're the cleanup crew, the scapegoat, well, whatever's convenient. In the event something bad had happened, it'd have been our fault. So we'd have been the scapegoat. Something bad had happened with somebody else, and now we're supposed to save him. So, it reminds me of when somebody said we're supposed to be pillars to our men or something like that. We're just always working. Never fails. We always got some work to do.
Be his peace. Be his peace.
I mean, yeah, in whatever way that have to be.
Right. Right. If that man ain't his own piece, y'all better run. You heard that from Miss Jovo. If somebody in your life ain't their own piece and they looking at you talking about be my piece, they taking a leap like old dude in the last video. Okay. I'm just saying, like, it's just not healthy. Like, these expectations, like, people just taking it too far. You said cleanup girl, Raven. Absolutely. Like, just like I said the other day, Black women, damned if she do, damned if she don't. If she would have left, they ain't never got our back. These old unaccountable Black women, they ain't got our back. Now that she's staying, it's why she with this weird dude now? So it's like, y'all gonna have something to say anyway. All I got to say is maintain healthy boundaries, Megan, if you're in a relationship for real with him. Like, and this man calling you Coretta or just randomly calling women Coretta, that ain't healthy. Nothing healthy about that.
No, I was I never needed to know that much about Jonathan Majors. He should have just stayed, becoming a little superhero he was becoming, and never did any interviews, never talked, didn't get into no drama, and everything would have been fine. I am extremely disappointed with how this turn of events transpired. I'm like, oh my God, this is
more, right? Like, I thought, he was a little different.
Well, I didn't think too much about him in general. I never really had a thought about him to begin with.
I was feeling proud and happy. I'm like, okay, look at this guy. Like, because, well, not but what, like, this was another part of, to bring Katt Williams back up. This is another part of what he said that I thought was extremely problematic. Talking about when do we ever like Black features and all this, like they trying to tell us to like Black features and this and that. Yeah, the mainstream doesn't like them, right? And they talk about it. So for me, I'm like, oh, look at this. Obviously, Black men, ain't nothing ambiguous about them. Ain't nothing, you know what I'm saying? Black features,
right?
Getting these parts, getting these roles. That's what I'm talking about. Come through, and then he was just weird as hell. So I was just like, dang. Okay. I'm like, why you do this to us? All right, back to the drawing board.
Why you shaming yourself?
I would just prefer consistency at this point. Like, if you're gonna be done with Black women and Black community, fine, whatever. But don't come back when something go wrong. Stay gone. Stay gone. I was okay with you being gone. Just stay gone.
Consistency.
And please stop making these public announcements about how you're done with the women in your culture. Like, we honestly, I don't care. Like just like I've said on the show in the past, the common denominator to all your failed relationships is you. So for you to get on the internet talking about this type of woman don't serve me, or this type of woman is unaccountable, or this type of woman, it's so exhausting being a woman. We do not need you to make a public announcement on how you're yet tired again of what we're doing. Yet y'all still keep coming back, like to any type of whatever woman. Okay, acting like you ain't gonna need no female influence in your life. Like you do know you do know you came from a mama, and if you're not with your mama, somebody raising you or nurturing you. So what? Your beef need to be with yourself, not with women.
I'm convinced some of these folks was raised by wolves, so I don't know. They was wild.
But okay, and didn't Katt Williams kind of bring up something like this in the interview? I know y'all not a fan of the interview, but didn't he bring up something?
I am a fan of the interview. I'm a fan, actually.
You're a fan.
I'm not a fan of everybody's behavior. I'm a fan of his interview.
Right. He bring up something about how I think he brought up this with Megan Good.
He prefers Katt Williams prefers
she's gonna get the runaway slave, and she cut his sentences
right. He prefers women to work for him. That's what he said. Like the majority of his staff, he prefers to work with women. But like I told y'all, this dude stay in character. Like Money Mike is not just a character to this dude. This is like one of his personalities, probably. So in his mind, it's like I gotta hold on to a little bit of the character that really made me famous. So it's not surprising that he got in the interview and was like, I love all women. Of course you do, fool. You play the pimp.
Yeah, right. And then when Shannon Sharp was asking him about him getting married or why he never been married, and he started naming cooking and cleaning, I was like, oh my God, this guy. Like that's what I mean. It's like on the one hand, he's talking about how much he loved women, but then on the other hand, when asked about a wife, you see him deduce the idea of a woman down to things that can be done for him instead of that full humanity. And you just know, you like, okay, you see women as objects, sir. You see women as objects. Stop it, you know?
Yeah. I feel you.
Darwin, what you think? Like with this Jonathan Majors thing, like with the whole Coretta Scott, I need this lady by my side. Like, what you think?
I told y'all, you know what it come to. Black women go get you another chance all day long. That's what he came back to. It's a safe space. So I just hope he has take some accountability for what he did and get some help before he, you know what I'm saying, do Megan Good the way he did old girl, because that'd be very, very detrimental to us supporting him. You know what I'm saying? Like you can only do so much before we just stop supporting you. But it takes a lot. It takes a lot, but eventually we'll get there.
Yeah. All right, we have a guest, you guys. Ava, are you ready? You ready to join us, Ava?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hey, I had stepped away for a second, so I was trying to catch back up to the conversation so I could get my thoughts. But yeah, so I wasn't ready to come up yet.
Which part?
Okay.
But which part stuck out to you when you originally wanted to address?
My whole thing, especially with this whole Jonathan Majors thing. Hi, you guys.
Hey.
But yeah, I just feel like being in, I know it sounds bad, but being in interracial relationships is a higher risk thing. Just like y'all said, when things happen between two people, they probably wouldn't even thought anything else about it if it was with a Black woman. But since it was with a white woman, here we are. And now he's suffering the consequences. So hey, you get what you get.
I don't know. I've heard some people making that assessment, right? They like, oh my God, because he knew he was getting with that white was, but I don't like that assessment. And I don't like it because it seems like we almost saying like, oh, you could get away with beating on your black woman, but you shouldn't have ran over that on white one. You can't get away with beating on them, so you should have knew better. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely get that side, and that's not what I want to say because keep that over there. You know what I'm saying? But again, I mean, it is true. It is true. I mean, not necessarily saying that he was gonna get a pass because he was with a black woman or whatever, but let's be real, they're more likely to take things up to a way higher level than they would if it was a black woman. That's just it. People put a problem.
I'm glad.
What did you say?
That's what he gets.
So
Hey, that's what I said. You get what you get. Hey.
Okay, so wait, you're saying that the women take things to the white women take things to a higher level? Is that what you're saying?
No, but I do think that too, though. But yes, the system, bystanders, whatever you want to call it, they just would escalate that situation a little more. But I do definitely believe that a lot of these other races, when they get with black men, they start to play into this feisty, oh, I'm just, you know, trying to act out their quote unquote hood dreams. Okay. They think that this is what a black relationship is, or they think that they can get away with this, just like with Jeannie Mai. What did she say? Oh, I just saw all this that I never had in me. I got feisty when I was with G. What does that mean?
Oh wow.
You was just with this white man for how long? Years. So you never got feisty, but now you know. Hey. But,
okay. So are you saying that that people take the mistreatment of white women more seriously, or they see their
for sure
white women as victims than they would if it's a black woman?
For sure.
I kind of agree with that. That plays into the colorism thing. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, they think black women supposed to endure more.
Yeah, they get Netflix documentaries.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
You're built for that. This poor old white woman, you can't do this to her.
Yeah,
you know I mean, I don't agree with it, but that's how that system works.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I wouldn't use that as a reason to be like, so that's why you shouldn't date out. Stay over in here where you ain't gonna get in trouble for beating.
Well, ain't nobody saying that though.
But look, but no, she's right. Look at the situation between look at Johnny Depp and the girl that played in Aquaman, how they stuff played out, their marriage. That girl got a whole Netflix special with just by what was she suing her for? Defamation of character? And she got a whole special. Do you know how defamed black women get, like, on a regular basis? Famous and not famous.
Okay. And then when they found out that she had pooped in that girl bed.
Right. And it's like, you know,
she pooped in his bed. She was really the villain. Who knew?
Oh wow.
Yeah, like that whole thing was just crazy, and they painted that like they were saying that her attorneys were advising her to come to court and cry on cue and all this other type stuff. Like they are painted as this docile. Oh my god!
But she lost, didn't she? Didn't she lose that case?
Of course she did. It was a classic case of manipulation. But I'm just saying, look how far she took it. If a woman, if somebody that looked like me took it to that extent, I would have been painted in the media like she complaining about nothing, or he didn't hit her that hard, because that's how they treat us. They really do. We can't ever be docile and hurt or in pain. We can't ever be that. No, we got to be strong. We got to be Coretta and Michelle and write books and stand by you.
I'll just put it this way. I'm totally okay with the fact that he was not with a black woman that night, and some other woman messaged him, and they got into an altercation, and he bent and twisted her fingers all up, and nobody took it serious. I'm glad he was with who he was with, and he got held accountable for his behavior because he deserved it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that happens. Another thing, like, I think it just kind of shows, like, well, you know, I'm not even gonna take it there. I was gonna take it someplace
Take it
So,
there.
what you gonna say,
Let's
Ashley?
go.
like, you know how a lot of times, and this is not about like every black man, like most black men are not, I don't think, are out here like abusing women, right? But I think like a lot of times the narrative is they choose non-black women because non-black women are just better, right? In various ways. They're just better. They are more submissive, they're more feminine, all these different things. They're better. But then you get who you think is better, but you're not treating them well. You know? Like you get who you think is the best to have,
But
but
they
then
get the same version of you.
yeah. And then exactly. And then sometimes not only that, they also still don't choose the right one. So it's just, it really just goes back to you have to be accountable for yourself. There is no reason anybody should be walking around saying, I'm not dating a whole race of people because of them. It's usually not them. It's usually like yourself. It's who you're
It is.
picking, or it's you. It's what you're bringing to the relationship. It's like what you're attracted to and what you choose or what you're bringing. So, and that's
At
what I,
minimum, you get back what you give.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, one of the
Yeah, you
things
get
that
back what
stick
you
out to
give.
me so tough is I think Darwin shared a video on his Facebook the other day when a lady was talking, and I heard people say this so many times, and they keep talking about the type of women that men will wife versus the type of women that those same men will just sleep with, right? And I'm just like, but you the same man. If you walk around here sleeping with women that you don't even like what kind of man are you for a woman that you claim you want? Like who, like what is your character? If you just running around, oh, I'm just running through women, like who, well, what respectable woman is supposed to want you? Like it doesn't, and it's like they just say that so flippantly, like, no, that's the type of woman that men will want. Who, okay, well, who wants to be a good woman for those type of men who out here running through other women? Like, what are you talking about? Like, yeah, I'm trying to get one of those men. You know, that man that's over there sleeping with all these women he don't like. That's the one I want. Like what? No.
so back to the question then. So
Yep.
back to the question. Do black women have a savior complex? Why would you know, and
Yeah.
when I first heard about Megan Good and Jonathan Majors being together, I'm like, you know, whatever. I really just don't care. Like that's her choice. She knows more about him than I do. I can't judge that, right? But you know, we've learned a little bit more that he wasn't as innocent as we thought, right? And so like she knows that. Why would she choose to continue to be with him? Does she have a savior complex? What is it?
I would think so.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Explain.
I think, yeah. Go ahead, Darwin.
I mean, I said pretty much why earlier. I mean, I just think that um, it goes all the way back to that Willie Lynch letter. You know, all of that is still very much within us, and how we raised and how black women are raised to shield men and don't hold them accountable for things, and it's just spewing over to everyday life. You know what I'm saying? Like it's happening. So she trying to save him, trying to um, build him back up, which is cool. You know what I'm saying? Like I mean, for anybody, you're supposed to always see the good in people, if it's not to your detriment, right? And if you can help a person, you should help a person. But
Maybe she feel guilty because she was Cleopatra the whole time. You know, the woman who he was texting that caused the whole kerfuffle.
Yep.
Because I mean, they went public real quick,
and maybe it was due to a little, and that's what happens a lot with a lot of relationships. It's a lot of manipulation on the man's part. He'll call the other woman and say, "Oh, she treat me this way, she treat me that way, she's making me lose my mind." So when something bad does happen, that other lady is like kind of like, well, she made him do it. You know what I'm saying? He's not that type of person. He was just pushed to his limit, and he's not really like that. When that he really probably is. So now she feels like, okay, you did that. He did that to her. He would never do that to me because I know why he did it to her. I don't act that way. But it's not about how you act. It's about how someone responds to how they feel, right? You know what I'm saying? So if he ever, no matter if you don't do the same thing that lady did, you might make him feel the same way he felt when he did that to that lady. So he might react the same way.
Yeah.
Well,
like it's only a matter of time, right, before he shows who he really is.
If he ain't getting no good help, yeah, he you can only be who you are until you change.
Yeah. Either say you are or you ain't.
And I remember like when I first heard about it, like I said, I wasn't judging her so much or him about their decision to be together. Partly because, you know, I thought about maybe it's a marketing type of thing. Like obviously he kind of needs the image change. He needs Black support. And you know, she just got out of a marriage. You know, maybe there's some type of business deal that they have going on. People do that in Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, why are Black women comfortable with that? Like, you know, I people, this is not a popular opinion, but I kind of think that's what happened with Lori Harvey and what's his name, Michael B. Jordan. I remember before they got together, he had been in the news for only being with non-Black women, and rumors were starting to circulate amongst Black women that he wasn't feeling us, and we were like his support group, right? Like, not that other people didn't like him, but we were probably a majority of his fan base. Probably, you know, just from observation, it seemed like we were the ones that were just like loving Michael B. Jordan. And then shortly after that, just like with Jonathan Majors, shortly after, you know, his name was being tarnished, he's with a Black woman. So my thing is like, why are we okay with that? It's almost like taking second position.
What is it that we're okay with it, or is it that we have been, you know, Kenan has talked about this on the show before about how we're raised and socialized anyway to look at our positions in certain interactions with certain people. I'm wondering if Megan Good has been a victim of abuse in the recent present or in her past, because a lot of victims of abuse, they tend to, if you know, they tend to almost drift back sometimes, or have, you know, kind of a relapse of going back to the same type of person over and over again. Like Megan's been divorced. She's been in some relationships before. I think she mentioned that when she did that uncensored interview, that she hasn't found her person. There's a story behind that. Like, what type of relationships has she been in, and what treatment did she receive in these relationships? Because there lies the answer on how she shows up in relationships, period. Because I think sometimes, like, and I've said this before, like, we will be literally victims of some type of trauma or abuse, but because of the way we were raised, and because it mama them and auntie them or whoever, because they endured it, it comes second nature to us. But then when we get more educated and more aware, we're like, oh, I was abused, or oh, this person used me, or oh, this wasn't supposed to happen. I'm wondering if the light bulb ain't completely clicked for Megan, that this is not how you get treated in a relationship.
I thought she was doing all that because she had just did the whole Christian thing. I thought she was being, you know, a good Christian. I didn't know what was happening.
She correct,
but it's a story behind
like
that
she
too.
was a pastor's wife. You've been you super Christian.
And let's be honest, and this and don't y'all light me up in the comments. It's trauma in the church that's got to be addressed, because the expectations of a pastor's wife and the expectations of what it takes to be a pastor and run a church, and you know, her husband was like, his church was a bigger church, right? He was a minister or a pastor in a mega church. I've been saying it since I was little. I know no other people, especially women, that could be more brutal sometimes than the women in the church. And a lot of his congregation, they didn't like that he brought Megan in like he did. So is she still like dealing with some of that? And this whole impulsive decision to like be this man's Coretta, is that kind of some residue of what she had to deal with that last relationship?
Okay.
You know, we'll never know all the details.
And then too, when you think about it too, those relationships have parallels. They trying to be the great helpmate, so
there you go.
We have another guest. Her name is Dr. Lockhart. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Can you all hear me?
She's been
Yes.
on, remember she was on the breast cancer show.
Yes.
Welcome
back. Hey, how y'all doing?
Good.
This is my ADHD kicked in because I was like, I'm just gonna stay on for 30 minutes, and then I stayed on for the whole thing.
So what do you think? What do you think about the topic?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't love the question because I think it's never a good idea to pose a question that's putting one group of people in a whole category, right? Like, do Black women? What is the question? Like, are we? Do we have a
savior
complex? Because my experience is just no. No, like, Black women in my age group, like I'm closer to 50 than I am to 40. We're talking about our Golden Girls house because we just have no interest in trying to fix people who don't want to do their own work. Okay. Now, I'm much older than you all, so maybe that's a different experience, but fixing people, no. Megan Good is younger. My take on it was really, and of course I have nothing to support this. I was like, their publicists got together and was like, he needs his Coretta. Let's who will do it? And Megan's like, whatever, fine, pay me. I don't know Megan Good from Adam. But this idea, I think it's dangerous to have conversations that put all Black men in any category, all Black women. I think there certainly is some cultural things that can yield itself to us making decisions that are detrimental to us as Black women.
Yeah.
And could that be at play here? Absolutely. And I just think it's probably a more, it's deeper than like all Black women having, versus the question of why would a Black woman be inclined to put themselves in that situation, knowing that he potentially beat his ex-girlfriend? What would make a Black woman compelled to do that? Because I think we get further when we ask that question, why? Because the asking, do all Black women do this, for me, lands a little bit like judgment and criticism and stereotyping Black women in a way that's not useful. And I'm much more inclined to think about, if Megan is doing that, why would she do that?
Yeah.
I think you talked about it.
Clear, like we, over here, we don't like the broad strokes of Black men.
Yeah.
And I try to not paint broad strokes of Black men too, but sometimes when we have conversations, we have to talk in generalizations. And like you said, there are different cultural things that we experience as Black women. And I think we get socialized to do certain things. And some of us break away from that, and many of us don't. And so I'm wondering if, and honestly, I'm going to be honest, I'm asking the question not because I form my own opinion, but because I want to hear what people have to say. I'm still trying to figure out what savior complex even means. But I do think that there's something going on where men feel like when they're down, Black women are good enough. And then I see often that Black women accept it for whatever reason. Now, that's a generalization. So I'm just trying to figure out, is it more than a generalization? Does it apply to most Black women or many Black women? And if so, like, why? Why was it, like I asked that question, why did Megan Good feel okay? And Jovo, you were talking about it. It has a lot to do with past relationships, past trauma, self-esteem, but why? Like, what is it that makes us feel like, it's okay to take this lesser than position? And
I also think it's important to point out though that when we phrase things this way, like Ashley said, it is like more of a cultural question. Like, is there a culture of this among Black women, not all Black women are doing it. Like all is not in there, right? Because it's not. It's like it's not even. It doesn't mean all. Like all of anybody
Of
is not
course,
really
yeah,
doing it.
not all is useless. Like I don't even say not. I hate when people say not all. The reason I'm saying this is because the population we're using is not even applicable to most of us, right? We're talking about famous people. So there's so many reasons why someone would accept a Black woman would accept a famous person after they went back. He's got money. He's got this. Like, if we're talking about just the general population, tell me, do any of you know a Black man who dated only white women and your Black girlfriend took them back after they were down? I don't know a woman.
Well,
Do you
I
all
don't
know
know.
any women?
I don't personally know a lot of Black men who date only white women,
Same.
but I do know
But
a
do
lot
you know
of
Black
Black.
women who've dated some man? Not you know the man.
Yeah. I know plenty of Black women who I feel have a savior complex with these men who are coming to like rescue them and taking them back after they didn't
always
even left them after they've left them, right? And tried all these other women.
So the example
But it doesn't
we
even
used
have
was
to be. Go ahead, Darn. Sorry.
the
Go ahead.
example we used was a Black man with a white woman. That was the example. But the savior complex is just deeper than that. It's like how many times does a woman have to dive in and try to fix some things that men have screwed up? Like is it a detriment to do that or not? You know what I'm saying?
Like, I mean, that's without question, right?
Or do they even
we talked
feel
about
like it's a
that earlier.
detriment?
The relationship's doomed to fail, right? So I guess my question then is, what is the reason for that part of the discussion? Like I said, I'm much more interested in why a woman might do that. Like if the
I think for me, excuse me, sorry. For me, it's very comparable to the starter wife phenomenon, because you see the whole the starter wife phenomenon.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
It's the idea that a man will have a wife that gets his his foundation together, while he gets his craft, and then becomes a famous basketball player, movie star, whatever the profession may be, and then leave that woman, as Kanye say, and get on with a white girl or whoever it is he may have wanted from the get-go. It just seems like, culturally speaking, we do have a habit of holding brothers down, whether it be the girlfriend, the grandmother, the auntie that lets him sleep on the couch for 6 months, or hop from here and here. We do have a history of holding these brothers down. So do we have a savior complex? I mean, we're expected to be everything, so
think
sure.
about what
But
Terry just said.
about the light bill.
Yeah. So
fair point.
But also, I think we're socialized to think in a scarcity mindset, like, oh, it's only so many good men out here, you know what I'm saying? Or it's only so many men who are making a certain amount of money and can be a provider. So it's taught to us to, hey, get it while you can, you know what I'm saying? Which I think that I just watched the video the other day, and it was just talking about how even if you can grow up in different environments, because I would say, like, somebody maybe that was growing up in suburban Massachusetts or something would have a totally different social construct than someone living in the South here, in the Atlanta area. It's just different. Like, we are taught different things in different areas. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like, even as kids, like a lot of white women and stuff, like they're taught to date and move on. Like, got a boyfriend, move on. Got a boyfriend, move on. Got a girlfriend, move on. Like, they date around, they date each other. They do that all through, and then find somebody. It's never like, oh, you should just stick with somebody, even though they're cheating, even though they're this. I mean, unless it's some resources attached, or just a business transactional type of deal. But
so bottom line with me with this, I feel like I agree with Dr. Locke. I think Jonathan Majors did this for a PR thing. Like, he had to try to the white crowd wasn't gonna support him. with this, right? By beating on a white woman. So he had to go to the people who he knew was going to support him, who had a platform. He knows Megan Good have some supporters and followers that'll help him through this trial and stuff like that. So that's where he went. It probably saved some face and help him build his name up. I think that's why he did it. Now, I don't know to the extent on how he's using her, like if he really do got some genuine feelings for her or whatever, or is he just doing it because he needs some little support and once he get that good, he might use her. I don't know. Now we can dig a little bit deeper into like why Megan Good feels like she wants to be with this man. Like I really don't know the backstory of it, how long they've been dating, or if he's been talking to her because we don't know that. But I think time will tell, and it always does. Like give it about another 3 months when he get his next role in the movie and he back in acting and stuff. We'll see how that goes because once he start getting back comfortable, I think his things will start getting back to how he really acts and maybe make good to see that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what dudes do. Once they get back good, still feeling they back feeling comfortable, they get in their little safe place, then the true them will come out. So right now he's on his good behavior. Spotlight is on him in a negative way. But when things turn around, we'll probably see like that's why you was with Megan Good. And then maybe hopefully but hopefully it's not that. Hopefully they really like each other. They really got some feelings for each other, right?
Yeah.
I think they're trauma bonding.
If anything, yeah.
Trauma bonding. Yeah.
I think, I'll be honest.
I'll put in the comments about attachment.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Dr. Lockhart. No, you go ahead.
I guess I have probably it's like the comment earlier when you were talking about like some people saying that making Black men wear dresses and things like that. When people say things like that about Black people, I'm like, well, you got to think that Black people are just really stupid, right? Like we just can't think for ourselves. Black men can't make decisions for themselves. So someone making them wear a dress, they're gonna be, So in the same way, I'm like, Black women, yeah, we have been socialized, but we're not dumb, And so I think I gotta believe that she's not clueless, about what's going on. And that's just my Pollyanna view of it. And in the same way, my experience is not that Black women are so clueless in relationships that we're just like taking Black men to fix them. Particularly when the commentary to Black women is always like, y'all don't hold us down, y'all ride or die. I'm like, well, which one are we? Are we like Captain Save, a Black man, or are we,
and I think that's why women start to think that they have to take on that type of role.
People say that, but it is. See, this is the thing. I don't think that it's necessarily fair to say, if you succumb to subconscious pressures, right, or societal expectations that makes you dumb, right? Like I don't think that.
Who said that?
No. What I was saying is, I don't think that that's necessarily the dichotomy that if you have been socialized in a certain way where you have been made to feel responsible for the men around you, whether that's a brother or whatever it is, like you have been made to feel through socialization, through different subtle things, that certain things are your responsibility that may not necessarily be. I don't think that makes a person not realizing that or being self-aware of that thing means that they're dumb. I think we all walk around with things that we're not necessarily aware of, that come from the way we grew up, our environment, a lot of different things, right? So I think that it is quite possible. Like, I mean, I'll just give you prime example for me. Like, it took me a very long time to not feel as responsible for family members as I had been made to feel coming up. And it took me a while to come to that self-awareness. It was never stupidity, but it was just when you do something. I
say what I mean, so I really don't want you to read more into that. I'm really speaking from the standpoint that Black people are so gullible that Black women are so gullible that people can lead us into things. I just want it to be that. Now, if you have some deeper traumas and deeper things, you need to connect with Miss Jovo, like people, I mean, in general. but I really want it not to be more than that. Like, I really do, because I don't want, I try to be very clear in what I'm saying. So this is not about reducing people's traumas and their experiences and their upbringing to being dumb, because that would be disrespectful of people's experiences. So no, I don't want that to at all be the understanding that anyone hears or that you have. This is not about that. I want to be very clear that Black people are we're brilliant people. And so I want us not to reduce our ability to be swayed by things to these very simplistic things. Now, anyone's experience in their families, because patriarchy affects everybody. So that's Black women, Asian women, white women. So if we're talking about patriarchy and all these, what I'm hearing you all talking about is patriarchy. That affects all of us. So this is not a Black woman who wants to have
a very specific way. But there's a very specific way that patriarchy shows up for Black people that it does not show up in other cultures. Like patriarchy is a thing, but it shows up different
because of social class, because of economic.
And again, that's we're talking about something very different. I am talking specifically about reducing Black women to we just are falling victim to, we just do the things because that's what we see. Now, if you want to talk about patriarchy and misogyny and what your culture is telling Black women to do, then we should have a conversation about that. That is the why. Not are Black women prone to a savior complex.
So let me be clear. A lot of times I ask questions so we can have these conversations. That's why I asked.
It didn't get there though until I just said, you know what I mean? That literally came across as, are Black women doing this thing? And I'll tell you how it lands. It's like Black women do, I think right before I came on, Miss Jovo, you were saying some things exactly about that. Maybe it was the upbringing, maybe it was trauma, maybe it was past relationships, just as I was coming on. And I was like, yes, that's the thing. But the conversation all before that was about, Black women just want to save people. And I'm like, come on, y'all, we better than that.
Yeah, we were just starting. I think there are layers and levels. 1 second, Jovo. There are levels to the conversation. The question, okay. The question is to prompt conversation. That's it. And as a podcaster, we have to be succinct with these questions. We're not about to ask they are lofty questions, but they have to be kind of concise. And so this question is to prompt conversation. Okay.
It did.
Yes. And so that's exactly why what we're talking about is exactly why we want to have this conversation. It's not to beat up on Black women. We're all Black women. This is the ladies' room. We are always advocating for Black women who are smart, strong, responsible, and healed, right?
Yeah.
But we have to look at the good and the bad and talk about why it's there and what we can do about it. So we did talk about the trauma. We talked about, I just kept asking why would Megan Good want that? And then we talk about the why, and then we can move forward, So we had just started the conversation and you joined us at the
No, I've been on the whole time.
Yeah,
I've been on the whole time.
This conversation, this particular segment. So thank you for helping us move the conversation forward. So I don't want anybody to see that question and just stay at the question. This is to prompt conversation, because what I want, my goal for this conversation is for Black women to realize the messages that we've been told and to realize that we are worthy and that we don't have to play second fiddle, and we aren't the ones that have to be second choice, and we aren't the ones, and we shouldn't. It's not even fair to men to get into a relationship with a man. And I see this all the time where you feel like you have to change him or train. It's not even fair to men to do that. It's demeaning to men to even have that mindset. But and I'm not saying all Black women have it, but many Black women are of that frame of mind where, I have to, like people used to say, prepare him for the next woman. You know what I mean? So this conversation is, I wanted to have it because I just want us to have a better self-image, and so that we can make better choices with who we mate with.
I think all the topics started off fairly general, just like with the colorism. We didn't specifically just stay with Erica and whatever. We expounded because, like you said, they're prompts. They're conversation prompts.
Yeah.
I don't think that centuries of programming falling susceptible to that makes anyone gullible, because it's centuries of programming. Like you can't beat that with your own single self mind. Centuries of people have mastered this craft, just like with colorism. So, I mean, I think we should have some understanding. But I mean, this just where the conversation lead it. I thought we were going to talk about the whole Christian idea to have to save him, because I thought she was doing that because she was the first
That's what
lady.
I was thinking
That's where
too,
I
because
thought
of
we were
her
going to go.
Christian
But then we went
background.
left. We went left. I thought we
That's
were
why
going to
that's
talk
why
about
I
that.
said that
So I just,
that we are hard. We are hard on each other in the church. And we got to remember, she coming out of a marriage where she was a first lady, essentially, of a church. Mind you, a church that really wasn't welcoming her in the beginning. Like, there was a lot of, it was a lot of unsaid but said stuff about why did he pick her, And so I think that when we do talk about like this topic, other topics, we can't ignore like the cultural layers of this. Like, I put in the comments about codependency and attachment. And I think when I did attachment styles, when we did the clubhouse, I talked about how culturally, like, we learned this whole behavior of lifting each other up. If somebody lifting himself up by the bootstraps, we lift the next person up. But just like with a lot of behaviors, when you exhibit poor boundaries, then and you're not aware that you're exhibiting poor boundaries, then this is where you get situations like this, where you're somewhat like you're not attaching to this person effectively, and there's a lot of codependency going on. And I think that culture lives with it. I think that culture goes back with us as Black people all the way back to slavery. And I think that little by little we're chipping it away, but we can't ignore that. Like, if we're gonna talk about it, we got to talk about both sides of it. And Raven, you're absolutely right. I do think that there was some type of spiritual conviction, for a lot of us to just, we got to stand firm, stand by his side, just like with these long-term marriages that we've talked about on the show, where they've been married 40 and 50 years, but the husband got like a mistress, and the wife, she on the surface, she looks happy, but she's really not. And there's really not a really true spiritual connection. Like, yeah, it's something there. Like, I believe that she was convicted on a spiritual and maybe a moral level to say, oh, I got to do this. And then, oh, why not do this and get paid at the same time? So I do believe, like, she took a lot of criticism when she was the first lady in the church. And they don't really talk about that because, you ain't allowed to talk bad about the church now. You just can't, right? Because that's a whole nother thing too. But we traditionally in the Black church or in the Christian church, there's kind of been this image of what the first lady's supposed to look like. Image of what, the pastor, when he marries, this is what they, and let's just be honest, y'all, Megan did not fit the traditional image. And maybe she's still kind of dealing with that on some level. That's what I think.
Okay. All right. All right. So unfortunately, Dr. Lockhart had to leave. I was going to ask her remaining points, but we're going to go ahead and close out. Y'all, I had fun. We went a little longer than I thought we would, but y'all know us. So I want to ask you guys your famous last words. Famous last words. Like, what do you want to say to the people, everybody watching, in 30 to 45 seconds? What do you want to say?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Standing on business or taking a leap of faith. You could take a leap of faith, but just remember, faith without works is dead. That's it. Own your behavior, and remember, when you choose to act a certain way or you choose to be in a certain situation, you choosing the consequences as well. Okay. Those are my words.
All right. Thank you. All right. Who wants to go next?
Why don't we go next?
You'll go next.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry. No. Ava, go next. Go next,
I was
Ava.
gonna say, yeah. Why don't we have our guest?
No, go in order. No, I'm not ready yet. I was just thinking.
Okay, go ahead, big sister.
Oh yeah. You know I gotta lead the way for the youngins. Yeah, that's my little sister. I'm so proud. Look at her. Oh my god. Anywho, my bad. Famous last words. I'm not selling any more Super Saiyan courses. Unfortunately, the game is told, not sold. Oh wait, sold, not told. However the phrase is, you know what I'm saying? I can't let y'all have all the tea no more. So I'm coming with some new courses for you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm always happy to have y'all. My famous last words are, just let the conversation flow. You know, just let just let things organically develop in conversation. That's all. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, lady. All right, Ava, you want us to save you for last? I can
Um,
I can go to
yeah,
the
I can go ahead and go.
Okay, thank you for coming, Ava. Go ahead.
Well, thank you for having me. Famous last words. I would just say, off the Cat Williams stuff, that does prove how gullible Black people are. So I'm gonna just say that. Hey, I ain't. If you
Okay.
believe it, you believe it. But I'm not a conspiracy theorist. So
Thank you, Ava. All right, the heels. Last but not least, famous last words. What do you want people to remember if they don't remember anything else about what you said tonight? Your famous last words. Go.
First.
Just want everybody to know that I have never done a hard drug a day in my life. All right.
I just want you to take away, there's always three sides to every story, right? But make sure when you tell your side, it's entertaining. That's all I got for you.
I love it.
Oh my God, y'all are hilarious. I am so happy to be back. Thank you for everybody who joined this live stream. You are in the ladies' room. You got to come back next week, Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central, 9 Eastern Time. You can always come and join our stream. We have a Facebook page as well, the Ladies' Room Podcast group chat, where you can continue the conversations that we have here. All right. Until next time, y'all. Peace out.
Good night.